Okay, I want to make a quick video going over shapes and also just showing you ways that you can help yourself remember all of these new terms. As you're beginning chapter 4, you're learning a lot of new terms. On the first page, we had some terms about lines and line segments and rays. These are good things to write in your own book. I did a page on the shapes that we're learning, and I used colored pens, and you can kind of make it a fun thing for yourself and add notes that help you remember these words, because there's so many words to remember. You can even, I used to do this when I was in school, I would use the yellow divider parts of my book. They're really sturdy. They're good for using marker or gel pen on. And you can write rules in there. That way, when you need to turn back and look at them, it's really easy to find. You just find that little piece of yellow in your book and read back over your rules. But anyway, I did some rules here, so I'm going to go over them with you. A lot of these you already know, hopefully. This is a triangle, and it is a three-sided polygon. And we've always known triangle, we think of three. If you have any trouble remembering that, just remember that root, tri, is three, like a tricycle has three wheels. A triathlon has biking, running, swimming. I think that's why they're called triathlons. But it's a three-sided polygon. So polygon, do we know what that word means? Are we confident about it? When I looked it up, it talks about the roots. Poly means many, and gon means angled. So polygon just means many angles. So it's not a line, it's not an angle, it's a shape. Okay, we can't have a shape with two angles. It would be open-ended. So I really don't know what you would call that, but a shape is a polygon, basically, as far as I know. A quadrilateral is a four-sided polygon. So it 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be like random four-sided shapes like this and this. It can be parallelograms or rectangles. So long as it's four sides, it's a quadrilateral. So these are all quadrilaterals. These are more specific, though. When you get to this one, it's a parallelogram. So it's got to have the opposite sides. This one is opposite this one. They've got to be parallel to each other. And these sides have got to be parallel to each other. Parallel, remember it like a pair of L's, just like that's in the word parallelogram. They are two lines that never intersect, just like that pair of L's. A quadrilateral whose opposite sides are parallel. So there you go. This is also a parallelogram, but it's even more specific. If you want it to be a rhombus, it's got to have parallel opposite sides. But they're all the same length. You don't have two longer or two shorter. It's a parallelogram that has all sides equal. A rectangle, well, technically this is a parallelogram too, but it's more specific than this one was because you have to have them have straight corners or right angles. A rectangle, that's what you've always grown up seeing, is that square right there. So it's a parallelogram that has four right angles. A square can be a rectangle too, technically, because it is a parallelogram that has four right angles. But a square, in order to be a square, we're even more specific again, kind of like the way we were with the rhombus and the parallelogram. Now we've narrowed it down and all the sides have to be equal. So yes, this is a rectangle, but it's also a square. Yes, this is a rectangle, but it is definitely not a square because all sides are not equal. So it narrows it down. Now, and you know what a square is. We've always grown up knowing what that is. But these little lines, in case you're wondering or didn't know, we use these tick marks to tell us when we draw something, because we're not going to draw it exact, but it's to tell us and anybody looking at it that these sides are considered equal. So these sides are considered equal to each other, but not to these sides, as we can tell by just looking at it. So a trapezoid. Let's talk about a trapezoid. It is a quadrilateral, which means quad. For quadrilateral, think quattro, like uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Like when you're, my very limited Spanish knows that means four. So just remember quattro, quadri as meaning four. So it's still four-sided, but it is not like any of the other even-looking ones that we've gone over. It only has one pair of parallel sides. These two are definitely not parallel. They're going to intersect at some point. Parallel never intersects. So if it's a weird word. We don't talk about it a lot. I think there's a muscle called the trapezoid. So yeah, I don't know what that's about. But if you're looking for like a clue just to help you remember it, think up something. It can even be silly. You can say, okay, well, it's looking like a parallelogram because it has two, but then it's not. So don't fall into the trap of thinking it's a parallelogram. I mean, you can just come up with something silly to help you remember it. Then, okay, so I'm moving on from that. Okay, that's a rectangle again. A parallelogram that has 4 right angles. Pentagon, okay? Penta is 5. There's a singing group called the Pentatonics, I think. And I guess I actually was about to say there were 5 people in the group. I'm actually not sure. So I don't know if that fact helps you any. But a pentagon means 5 sides. So I drew one here that's not equal. It would be called an irregular pentagon, I believe. And then I drew one where each side, by me writing that tick mark, I'm telling you, okay, they're the same length. Even if I didn't draw it perfect, I'm telling you that's the rule. They're the same length. So it's a 5-sided polygon. There you have it. Then you've got an octagon, which octa is, oct is 8. We think of an octopus as 8 legs. It's also the way a stop sign is shaped. A stop sign is a regular octagon where they're all equal. And then this is an octagon too, but it's very irregular. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. It's an 8-sided polygon. Okay, a hexagon is 6 sides. This one has 6 sides, very irregular. This one is a regular 6-sided polygon where they're kind of equal, or they are equal. Think of, I drew these to sort of show you, like, the honeycomb pattern is a neat thing in nature of a 6-sided, of a regular hexagon. Actually, I think some quilts use that too. And then, so it's neat to see math and like exact shapes and all. Like that's in creation. That's in God's creation. He's in charge of math, and it's amazing. That's my page there for your shapes. So I would encourage you to write these down and make your own little clue sheet. If you've thought of some better words to remind, like, okay, one I thought of for pentagon was, you ever heard of the penthouse? Like, I've heard of that being like, I don't think it always means this, but it can mean like the top floor of like a hotel or something. And when it's that regular kind, it kind of looks like a house. Pent. So when you hear pent, maybe it will help you remember 5. Penthouse or pentagon. It looks kind of like the top house floor. Anyway, have fun with it and help yourself memorize by writing. Writing really helps you memorize.